Hey, it's Carly. With what I'm calling a quarantine vlog, we're gonna go over just 10 random facts about me that maybe you didn't know if you don't know me very well, and some of the stuff's like pretty random. The first thing is one of you guys asked what my biggest fear was, which I thought was interesting. Kind of like going deep right away. I'm really scared of being old. It's something everybody has to do, I guess, but it just like freaks me out. I'm also scared of losing my memory. My grandmother has Alzheimer's disease, and we kind of have like a history of that in my family. And I don't know. That just freaks me out so much because it seems like no matter how much you kind of like live your life to the fullest and you try to like be a good person and like do what's right and live a fulfilling life, you might just forget about it, and that just freaks me out, you guys. Freaks me out. Favorite album of all time. This is kind of a tough one for some people, but not for me. If you know me at all, you know I'm obsessed with Under Oath. They're my favorite band ever. If you don't know who they are, first of all, what? You gotta look them up. You're already on YouTube. Just maybe pause, go look them up. I'm sure Writing on the Walls is gonna come up, probably the greatest song of all time. So my favorite record from them and of any band is Defying the Great Line. It came out in 2006. Under Oath is the greatest band ever. My first tattoo was Under Oath tattoo. If you didn't know that, go back and watch my What My Tattoos Mean video. That was a fun one to shoot. Some of you guys asked like what I was like in high school or like back in the day. So back in the day, Carly was a figure skater. What? Yes. So when I was in like I guess elementary school, going into middle school, I took lessons and I was like trying to be like, I really liked the Olympics, and like Tara Lipinski was like a big thing going on, and like Michelle Kwan, like back in the day when I was like a little kid, and I was like, I want to be Tara Lipinski. So I took lessons and I did competitions. I had like little outfits. But once I kind of was like getting more into middle school and eventually high school, I had to pick between being a figure skater and like being in band. So I chose band because a lot of my friends were in band. So I played the flute and the piccolo, and I was like weirdly kind of good at it. So once I was in high school, I ended up being like first chair for a couple years in concert band, and then I also did marching band, which was really fun. And I also ended up going to Europe. So I played in a band that was like you kind of like had to audition, and so a bunch of my friends made it and I made it, and then we got to go to Europe for like 2 weeks over the summer between my sophomore and junior year. So like, whoa, was that a good time. So much fun. I kind of wish I could go back now as like an adult, so I'd probably like enjoy it more. But we were like on tour, so it was really interesting. We played like the Lord of the Rings soundtrack. It was dope, not gonna lie. The first concert I ever went to was The Starting Line. So The Starting Line was like my favorite band like all through middle school and the first part of high school before I found Under Oath, and then like kind of got launched in the whole like screamo side of things. So I kind of started off listening to more like pop punk bands like Fall Out Boy and Dashboard Confessional and like emo type stuff like Senses Fail. So so The Starting Line was playing in Philadelphia with Matchbook Romance, I think, if you guys remember them. So yeah, they're my first concert, and every time The Starting Line is back in Philly like around December for their holiday show, I always go because it's so much fun. I'm also a licensed cosmetologist. That's kind of fun. I get a lot of questions about my hair on social media, so I do my hair myself. That was like my main reason for wanting to go to cosmetology school. I just wanted to kind of be able to recreate like pictures that I saw and things that I was really interested in like trying on my own. So so I went. I went to college. I went to Penn State, and I had been kind of like working in radio for a while, but it like wasn't paying very well. So I was like, I need a side hustle that I'm going to really enjoy. So I was like, I'm going to go to hair school. So hair school is 8 months if you go Monday through Friday. So it's a lot like being back in high school. You got to study for tests and stuff like that. But I graduated so I have a license in New Jersey, in New York, and Pennsylvania. So I was like trying to cover my bases in case I ever had to move, or I got a job somewhere else, and I would always have that as like a side hustle. So I am kind of an on-location artist, so I do like photo shoots and a lot of weddings. So I'm, there getting the bride and her girls ready right before like the big day. So that's like a really special thing to be able to be a part of. Yeah, so I did go to Penn State for broadcasting, for radio. A lot of you guys maybe know me from the radio, which is super cool. Didn't end up being what I was super passionate about after about 10 years in the industry. The future of radio is a little bit uncertain, and that makes it kind of hard to have job security and things like that. So a lot of you guys probably know I'm a full-time actor now, which is a lot of fun. I had a short film that just came out. It's called Repeated. There's a link for that in the bio as well on Instagram, depending where you're watching this, and below if you're on YouTube. My favorite TV shows of all time, this one's easy. It's The Office and Parks and Recreation. The writing team, the Greg Daniels, Michael Schur, oh my gosh, so funny. I've watched them both like a million times. I know there's a ton of people that like don't get why The Office is funny, or they just think it's like really awkward or whatever, but like, I've watched it so many times that I feel like these people are like my friends. And if you guys are big Office fans, make sure you listen to Jenna Fisher and Angela Kinsey's podcast. It's called Office Ladies, where they go through each episode is a different like podcast, and they'll tell you like behind the scenes stuff, or like stuff you can look for in the background, and like stuff where they messed up, like and they also have like guests on the show, like Creed rolled up on one episode, and the creator or director Greg Daniels was on one. They had Melora Hardin, who plays Jan, on there. It's like my favorite podcast ever. So while we're speaking about it, I also have a podcast. That's a fun one. It's called The Ladies of Metal Show. If you listen to metal bands, it's a good one to check out. The episodes are relatively short. They're about 20 to 30 minutes. That's where I interview metal bands at shows, which is really fun. If I can't get to the show, or like sometimes, like obviously I'm based out of Philly, they'll do like a Pittsburgh show, or like New York is like the closest one, so I'll try to get them on the phone. So these are big names. So like some of the most recent ones I did was like Straight from the Path, Dead American, which is Cove Reaper from Seosin's new band, if you haven't checked them out. They're really good. We have The Devil Wears Prada on there, Oceano, and Within the Ruins. There's like a ton on there. So that's really fun. And then what's really cool is these dudes kind of become my friends sometimes when they're cool. So it's a really good opportunity to like, I don't know, make some new friends. Hooray for podcasting. Podcasting is like everything that I love about radio, minus the like questionable industry stuff that goes along with it. So it's the music, it's the chatting. I love it. So check it out. It's called The Ladies of Metal Show. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple Music. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, just search for it. So I think I have 2 more things left. I'm trying to keep count here. Some of my favorite movies and like movie combos, this is kind of a weird one. Christopher Nolan and Hans Zimmer. I hope you guys are aware of this combo, because my favorite movies are like Inception, The Dark Knight, Shutter Island, Prestige. All these 2 guys, Christopher Nolan and Hans Zimmer. So Hans Zimmer does like all the music. He did music for like Pirates of the Caribbean, and like, man, that man is like has a special place in my heart. He's like an old guy from Germany, and he's like the best composer ever. So yeah, so those are probably like my favorite movies. That's like kind of how maybe I knew that I wanted to get into acting, or at least try it out, because these movies mean so much to me that I was like, maybe this is like something I can try. Especially like kind of like psychological thrillers and like things you have to, how do I explain it? Like you gotta figure it out as you're watching it. So it's kind of like, like the plot unfolds. So I think that's like really interesting, and I'd really love to be in like movies like that. And I think I get this question on Instagram all the time, so I just put it in a caption of one of my new posts. The Marvel versus DC like debate, which is tough because Batman's my favorite superhero of all time, so but he's like the only one I like in DC. I do like Wonder Woman though. Wonder Woman's cool. She's my girl. But Batman's like my favorite superhero, but I do love like the Avengers and Marvel, obviously. And then I think this is the last one, which is like maybe the weirdest one, I don't know, is that I still use an iPod. So I have like a Spotify account and Apple Music and whatever, but it's like the free versions. And I just have always been using my video iPod since like 2007. And like, yes, it still works. So I didn't know that Apple products could even like last 12 years or 13 years, but man, that thing's like 180 gigs. It's like a brick, but it's amazing. And I have like everything I've ever downloaded off of like iTunes from high school and like my entire music library that I've ever had, like digitally before like CDs and all that is like on that iPod. So I just haven't really made the switch over to like streaming platforms. I don't know what it is. I'll probably have to at some point, honestly, but like I'm just gonna ride out the iPod situation while I still can. So yeah, so I think that was it. I think that was 10. I tried to like list everything to make sure I made the 10, but if you guys have questions about anything, you can go ahead and leave them in the comments or like send me a message. I'm open to chat. Like I said, it's the quarantine vlog. We got nothing else to do. So if you guys want to hang out, I'm here. I'm on Instagram at HairMetalX. That's like where I hang out the most. So if we're not friends already on there, we should totally be friends. And make sure you check out my podcast, The Ladies of Metal Show, on Spotify and Apple Music. That's like one of my favorite things that I do in my free time. Keep an eye out for all the like TV shows and movies that I'm in this year. I'm really excited to share that with you guys. I'm always kind of like posting stuff as it's coming out in my Instagram story too, so keep an eye on that. Thank you guys so much. Make sure you like and subscribe, hit the bell so you get a notification when I post a new video, and I'll probably have a couple of these up in the next couple weeks if I'm sitting home doing nothing, so we might as well hang out. All right, thanks so much guys. I'm Karle Gwen.